Hello everyone, this is Arpan. So for today's video, I'll demonstrate how you can install VMware vCenter server. So vCenter stands for Virtual Center. So with Virtual Center server, you can centrally manage all the VMware vSphere hypervisor, which is nothing but your ESXi host. So let me just give you a brief example of what this VMware vCenter server does. So as you can see, on top your VMware vCenter server will be there, which manages all the VMs. Those are running in the VMware vSpheres. So through this VMware vCenter, you can configure cluster, you can configure the network settings. Let's say if you're having multiple ESXi servers, so in that case you don't need to log into each and every ESXi server and make the configuration changes. So to simplify that thing, VMware has come up with this vCenter server concept where you need to add all the hosts. So once all the hosts are added into the vCenter server, you just need to go to each and every host and make whatever changes you want to make. Apart from that, to provide your infrastructure high availability and DRS, which is dynamic resource synchronization, you have to have your VMware vCenter server. So just let me show you what VMware recommends to install ESXi 5 Plus or VMware vCenter 5 Plus. So as you can see, this is the requirement for this vCenter server. So the CPU should be Intel 64 processor with 2 gigahertz, and disk storage will require minimum 7 GB for, and the memory will be minimum 4 GB for the tiny inventory, that is 10 or fewer hosts, or small at least 8 GB. So this is the basic requirements. I mean, like 80 GB, 4 GB, 80 GB of disk storage, 4 GB of RAM, and Intel 64-bit or AMD 64-bit processor with speed of 2 gigahertz. So as software requirements, you need to have .NET Framework 3.5, ASP 4.5, and your .NET Framework should include .NET 2.0 and 3.0. So here I'm installing vCenter server on a Windows 2012 server. So I have gone to add roles and features, and on the features tab I have selected .NET Framework 3.5 features, ESP 4.5 feature. So once I'll go for next, it'll ask me to specify an alternate source path. So the source path here is that I need to specify where those .NET files are present in my ISO image. So once I've installed those .NET features, I'll click on the install tab and I'll go for custom install. So I'll install vCenter single sign-on. So vCenter single sign-on will provide you, once you have added your domain to the vCenter, so any of the domain user whom you are giving the privileges can log in to the vCenter server based on the account privileges is the user having. So I'll accept the terms and license. So as you can see, this server's host name is vCenter 55, that has been taken by the single sign-on. The FQDN is vcenter55.arpan.com. arpan.com is my domain. The IP address what is given to this server, and which domain my vCenter server is joined. So here it's giving me the some sort of warning. So obviously it will ask me for a static IP address, so I'm gonna ignore that one. So to install this single sign-on feature, it is asking me which options I want to select. So there are three options: vCenter single sign-on for your first vCenter server. So let's say I have installed this single sign-on for this first vCenter server, and this single sign-on role is installed. Then again in another server, I'm installing the single sign-on. So in that case, I can go for the second or third rule, that is vCenter single sign-on for an additional vCenter server in an existing site. So here I am creating my first site at my first vCenter single sign-on server. I'll click on next. So here it will ask me the password for the vCenter single sign-on, and let me tell you, like by default, vCenter creates a domain called vsphere.local. So later on you can add your vCenter into your domain, but as of now it will be vsphere.local. So after giving the passwords, I'll go for next. Oops, the passwords, make sure the passwords are like strong password. So this is the site name, as I mentioned earlier. This is my first site on my vCenter single sign-on server. So this is the HTTPS port where this vCenter will be connected. So then I'll go for install. So my installation is done. Then I'll go for the next step, which is vSphere web client. So same with vSphere client, vSphere web client also provide you the advantage to connect to either ESXi host or vCenter server. So after I'll accept the license, I'll mention the ports, which is default, and here I need to give the SSO administrator password, which I set up while setting up this vCenter single sign-on. So as you can see, it has taken the lookup service URL, so it has given me the certificate warning. Next, install certificates, then install. So once I finish my installation, it is showing like successfully installed. So I need to wait for some time so that vSphere web client services are running properly. Then I'll go for the inventory service. So inventory service is very much required to have all the VMs or whatever host that you're running. So in any case, if your inventory service is not running, then you can't see like if you have added your ESXi hosts and their VMs to the vCenter, you can't see those stuffs there in your vCenter. So I'll click on install, select the language, again end user license agreement, what is the path, what is the fully qualified domain name, what is the port. So this is also an important thing, like while you're setting up your inventory service. So as I've shown, as VMware recommends, like what is your environment size, is it small or medium or large. So as I'm gonna keep my inventory small, so in that case it's gonna take a RAM of nearly 4 GB. So again I need to provide the SSO administrator password. I'll click on install. Probably another setup is running. So anyways, like installation is I've closed another setup and the installation is completed right now. So this is the vCenter server installation. So this prerequisite are like, as you can see, single sign-on and inventory service. Same steps I have to repeat for this one, but yeah, here it is asking for the license key. I'm not going to give it a license key. So another important thing is that you have to have a DB server, which can be your Microsoft SQL server or Oracle database server. So as I don't have any SQL server instance installed in any of my system, so I'll install a SQL Server 2008 instance, or else you can use an existing supported database as well. So here I'm selecting install a SQL Server instance. So here, like, I'm creating a standalone VCenter server. I'm not gonna join to this VMware VCenter server group because I don't have anything created. So this is my fresh and first installation. So these are all the ports where it will be connected. Again, I need to specify like what is my inventory size, so that will be small. And again, this administrator password, SSI administrator password. So as you can see, like, it has created a local domain called vSphere local. So when I'm setting up the vCenter administrator, so that would be administrator@vSphere local. So that is very important thing. Like, while you are logging into the vCenter server, you have to give a account name like this, administrator@vSphere local. So this is the vCenter inventory service URL, what is given right here. You shouldn't make any changes because it has taken the default ports. So as you can see, it is extracting the files. Now it will set up my SQL Server 2008 R2 instance. So I have to wait for some time. So SQL Server is being installing right now. So once I've installed the SQL Server, my vCenter server has also been installed. So as you can see, it has created some sort of icons over here. Then I'll search for vSphere web client. Let me show you once again. vSphere, there is a vSphere web client. So it is giving me a certificate warning, so I'm gonna ignore, or else I'll add this site to the trusted sites. So as you can see, it is asking for the Adobe Flash Player version. So if you're not able to connect to your vCenter server, so please make sure this services is running over here, VMware Virtual Center Management Web Services, and your VMware Virtual Center server as well, and your VMware vSphere web client. So you may face some issues sometimes, like when you're trying to connect to your vCenter server, it doesn't come up. You're getting like, cannot connect to the vCenter server. So you can log into the vCenter server. You can check for the services whether those are running or not. So again, I'll open my web client, and my vCenter server side is coming up, It's taking a bit time to get loaded. Yeah, so it has came. So right now I'm gonna give username like vSphere.local/administrator and the single sign-on password what I've set up while installing the vCenter. So it is authenticated and it's gonna take some time. Yeah, so as I can see, it is showing me the vCenter console. So this is the home page over here. Here you can see host, cluster, VM template, storage, networking, data centers, resource pool. So later on in my videos I'll show the different features or different configuration settings that you can enable in vCenter, mainly creating of the cluster and enabling AJ and DRS roles and fault tolerance, and also some configuration related with storage and networking. Thank you very much for watching this.